The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, and welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show, and welcome to episode 1000. And I want to take a moment here at the beginning to thank all of the listeners who tune in and who support this show to make it the number one podcast in the industry. And thank you for allowing me to continue doing this and for giving me good feedback to encourage me to continue this podcast throughout the years and to reach episode 1000. Pool Service Pro, open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Also receive priority service, enhanced rebate programs, a discount on your general liability insurance through SPA, a discount on your pool routing software through Skimmer, and an opportunity to co-brand with Leslie's on your social media, website, truck, and more. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. I think this episode is a good place for me to kind of reset things and give you a little background about myself and the podcast show itself. The podcast show started back in 2017, and I wanted to do something where I could kind of relay information in a format that doesn't require me to go out there with a camera and make a video, which takes a long time. If you've never filmed a video and edited it, you have no idea of the time it takes to put one up. And the podcast is an easy way to get information out there to the listeners and vital information, I think, in the pool industry. And I'm really proud that I have such good support from the industry behind me that made this podcast number one. And I plan on continuing to do the podcast. I don't plan on stopping after reaching this milestone. In fact, I just want to keep going as long as I can and keep the podcast episodes coming. And thank you for your support and for making this the most downloaded pool industry podcast to date with over 1.1 million downloads. The show is popular. It's kind of like one of those things where I don't go out there and promote it. I don't have awards or events or seminars, but it's slowly grown to this point just by the content I put out. And I think people like the content. A little bit about myself. I've been in the pool industry since 1998. I was 16 years old when I started in the pool industry. I guess a funny story that goes with that is that I wanted to make money back then. I just had this desire to have money. Not sure exactly where it came from, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so a family friend trained me how to do pool service. And I was kind of hampered by being in school till 2:30 back then. We got out of school, or 2:45. That kind of hampered me doing pool service. So I was asking some friends, hey, is there any way that I can get out of school early? I mean, I see people leaving campus at lunchtime. How do they do that? And so they told me about the ROP program, which is the work program that they offered. They probably still offer it. And you just take a class that goes over careers and the like, and then you get out at noon at lunchtime and go to work. And so that was the first thing I did. I dropped a couple classes that I had in the afternoon, and then I joined the ROP class in my junior and senior year. And I would get out of school at noon every day. I actually got a failing grade in that class. I got a D because I was doing work that I wasn't supposed to do by California law. I was only 16 years old, and I was out there driving a truck doing pool service, which was not one of the participating career fields back then. Probably still not, because driving at 16 all over the place with a Thomas guide probably isn't the safest thing to put someone in that position. And so my teacher had to give me a failing grade because of that reason. When he went to go for the interview, he found out that I was out driving a truck, and that was definitely a no-no. He was super nice about it. I stayed in the class, and I was able to still finish high school with a 3.7 GPA, even with a D in this ROP class that I needed to get because I wanted to get out early to go to work. So that's kind of my personality. I've always been driven, even at 16 years old, to find ways to make money and to just work hard at what I do. So about 10 years ago, almost exactly, or not exactly, back in March 10 years ago, I started the YouTube channel where I put videos up there, and this caught on pretty quickly. I put pretty high quality videos and people liked them, and it just took off from that point. And then the podcast in 2017. In between all of this, I do write a blog that has 1.7 million page views, and that's Poolman Dave Blogspot. You can find all that on my website. If you go to swimmingpoollearning.com, you'll find that information. I do still maintain a small route in Southern California, in the San Gabriel Valley area of Southern California. I've been married for 26 years, and I have a 14-year-old son. And so that's a little bit about who I am and the background in the industry. So I've always been part of the pool industry since I was 16 years old. And on the side, I do real estate investing kind of as a hobby, but kind of as a second profession, I would say, in that regards. So being in the pool industry for 34 years now, of course, there were mornings, and there still are mornings when I wake up and I just don't feel motivated. I don't feel like doing anything. I would say I'm burned out at that point on those days. And I experienced a really large period of burnout back, I would say, in 2007. And I was just like feeling unmotivated. We did have a lot of debt at that time. We had 3 houses and we had 3 mortgages. And we really had no plan, really, technically. But then I stumbled upon Dave Ramsey and started getting on his plan. And that really rejuvenated me and really motivated me. So I think one of the things that really can help you with burnout, if you're feeling kind of, everything's kind of gray, you're not motivated, everything seems the same, and it is kind of monotonous, this kind of work, going out there, doing the same pools for, 48 weeks out of the year and seeing the same things over and over again, it does get monotonous. I'm not going to lie to you. And so what motivates you? I think setting a tangible goal is a good way to motivate you to get out of bed every day and to get out there. It could be something to start with very simply. I want to pay off my truck. If you have a truck payment, let's say you owe $30,000, and this is just rough math because the interest on a car payment is compounded daily. But let's just say you wanted to pay it off in 20 months or less than 2 years. You can throw $1,500 at that truck and pay it off in less than 2 years, probably 15 months if with the regular truck payments that you have going every month. And that's a big motivator. I mean, you're out there working hard to get that extra $1,500 you can pay off that truck, and then you'll be driving that truck free and clear. And it's really a great feeling driving a paid-for vehicle. I'm at the point now where I don't finance any vehicles. Every vehicle that I purchase now, and that's kind of the Dave Ramsey influence in our financial plan. The car payment is probably the worst product out there because it's compounded daily. It's basically like paying for Uber every day, even if you're not using your vehicle. Of course, in pool service, you are using the vehicle, but it is probably the worst financial product you can have, which is a car payment or truck payment. So we avoid that by not having one. And you can do the same once you have your truck paid off. Then that truck has equity or value. And if you wanted to buy another truck, you can sell that one and put some cash towards another one and move up in vehicles. And that's kind of the same concept that we use for investing in real estate. We would buy a property, and then the equity would build up, and then you would use that to buy another property and continue to do the same thing on a larger scale. So one of the things that motivated me, I'm kind of getting off track here, one of the things that motivated me in the beginning in 2007 was paying off the mortgages. And it may sound, impossible or something that's not achievable, but we were able to pay off 3 mortgages in Southern California in about an 8-year period from that point. And that's something that is a tangible goal. You may just want to pay off your personal residence if you have that mortgage, and just to, get an amortization schedule on Excel and type in an extra payment and see how long that will take you. And you'll be pretty amazed, especially with the interest rates at like 4%. If you got a 4% interest rate, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can pay that house off. And some people are saying, well, I mean, my rate's 4%. Where can you get such cheap money? And that's true. 4% is good, but in this current environment, paying off the mortgage is probably gonna make you more money because you're getting like negative 20% in the stock market, and inflation is at 8%. So paying off a 4% mortgage, that, by the way the interest is compounded and as amortized, I should say, on a mortgage, you'll see that any amount of money you pay is really going to save you a ton of money because it's kind of front loaded. For the first 8 to 12 years, you're paying mainly interest and not as much principal. And I think at the 14-year mark on a 30-year mortgage, you'll get to the 50-50 mark where you're paying just as much principal as interest. And if you can pay that mortgage off early at the front end, that's when you save all the money on a mortgage. So something to think about, something to look at. Just get an amortization chart from Excel. That's how we did it. I don't think it was Excel back then, but it was just something online. But Excel has plenty of these charts with extra payments. There's also calculators online you can find to do that. But that could be a goal that's tangible and reachable. Maybe a goal is to build your route up so you can bring an employee on. That's definitely something reachable. It's one of those things where you can just start getting more and more accounts and be motivated by that. Every week you're getting 1 or 2 new accounts. And when you get to a certain point, you realize that you can bring an employee on and you're excited to scale your business to another level where you're basically going to increase your profits by 60% with an employee working for you. So that's definitely a goal that you can reach. Many goals like that. Maybe you want to buy a lake house or a house in the mountains, or somewhere where you can go on the weekends. That's also something tangible. But if you don't have a goal set, you can't really reach anything, I don't think. And you can't really motivate yourself without something that you can see kind of in the front window of your vehicle as you're driving every day to work, and something that you can actually reach. Don't set anything unrealistic, buying 5 rental properties when you don't have any experience or don't have any money. That's unrealistic. But small goals like paying off your truck, paying off your mortgage, or paying down your mortgage, these are all goals that are very tangible. Expanding your pool route, something definitely reachable. I think one of the biggest components of burnout is working too much and not getting enough rest and enough downtime. I worked a lot when I was building up the channel and working out there in the field, and definitely that can lead to burnout. I was probably sleeping 5 hours a night, most nights, working Saturdays, and this could definitely lead to burnout because you're not really designed or made to work to that extent without having some kind of break. Or if you don't take a break, you're definitely going to break yourself. And I think this is something that you have to really sit down and look at. Am I working too much? And that's something that you need to ask yourself, ask your spouse, hey, am I just too involved in work? Am I overdoing it? And they'll tell you honestly what they think and how much time you're putting into your pool route, building up your business. And this is something that you're going to have to make a personal decision of how much to scale back so that you can get some of your life back and kind of get some of your sanity back, because working all the time can really drain you and cause the same burnout that you feel without having a goal. So setting a goal, also making sure you don't overdo it with work. And I'll fully admit this, I'm the kind of person that whenever I do something, I'd give my 110%. If I'm handing out cans to the homeless, I'm back there stacking them up so that I can grab certain cans and make sure that they get a good, variety of the cans. If I'm doing something, if I'm shopping, I'm on a mission, and I get stopped all the time when I'm in the grocery store, maybe because I wear my work shirt sometimes in there, but they're always asking me, where's this and where's that? Because I kind of look like I work there the way I shop. So I'll do everything to 110%, which is a bad character trait, I'll admit that. So I'm definitely a type of person that has a hard time relaxing and getting into that kind of, sitting on the couch reading a book mode. It's just not my personality. I think it's genetic in a way. My grandfather, I remember he would never sit down. He'd be walking around his house the whole time we visited him. He would be in the backyard, walking around the living room. My dad's kind of the same way. He's always tinkering and doing something. And so I kind of have that disposition. So I have to fight myself whenever I do something, not to give my 110% all the time, kind of taper that back. And one of the things that I've been really making an effort at is working just Monday through Friday. I haven't worked Saturdays probably for the last 4 or 5 months now, and I want to make that part of my regular routine where I'm not working Saturday, because technically I can work 7 days a week, no problem. It wouldn't bother me, but I realize that the component of burnout is built in there, and you can't really do that. Even if you're wired to do that, it's not healthy. And so definitely taper that back, and that will help prevent that burnout, as well as, giving you a very balanced life. Something that's often overlooked, and I'm not a dietitian, I just play one on this podcast here, but I think the way you eat, your eating habits are really essential in your energy and creating this burnout feeling also. So if you're having Twinkies at 10 o'clock at night or donuts at 10 o'clock at night, don't expect to get out of bed feeling full of energy if this is your regular routine. I make it a habit to eat a light salad at night and maybe a little bit of protein. And then I don't eat anything for 10 to 12 hours before breakfast the next morning. And that kind of gives my body a way of fasting and kind of detoxing. So your diet is really important. I would say exercise, of course, is essential. You're out there working and burning a lot of calories anyway. But I think, an exercise routine in the evening would be good. But your diet is something that you should also be considering as contributing to your burnout. If you're not eating healthy or eating right or eating balanced, that's going to affect your emotional state and your mental state for sure. I think also getting involved in the community is really essential. I'm the president of my HOA here in my community because I feel like I have the personality that's fairly balanced. I'm not like a Barney Fife type, finding everybody and checking in everyone. I try to keep things pretty even here. I'm pretty familiar with working with vendors and with, how the pricing is out there for different things that need to be done here. So I feel like I have the ideal quality traits to be on the board here in the HOA. I'm also volunteering at church, and I think it's important to have some way of you giving back to the community because that kind of takes the focus off of yourself. And a lot of the burnout maybe comes from over-focusing on your needs and what you're doing. And when you focus on other people's needs, if you're helping at a homeless shelter or if you're just doing something simple like picking up trash at the park. I saw a jogger the other day and I thought this was pretty cool. He's running with a trash bag and he was picking up trash as he was jogging around the neighborhood. Something as simple as that is giving back to the community, and it just takes your mind off yourself. And a lot of times we can be overthinking about the things we're doing, overthinking about our work. And by doing some kind of volunteer work in the community at your church really takes your mind and focus off of you and puts it on someone else. And for that brief moment of 2 or 3 hours a week when you're volunteering, that's really re-energizing and healthy. And I think if you're not doing something like that and you're just always worried about yourself, your work, and all the things that are about you, I think thinking about other people by volunteering really changes that perspective. And it's not all about you. And you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. And there's been scientific studies that show that, being generous with your time, with your resources, donating to charities really helps your mental state. And I think the big part for me of why I do this is because I mentioned my personality is someone who could work 7 days a week without being bothered by that, by me kind of slowing down and having to get ready for a youth Bible study. I take 2 hours out of my day to get everything ready. And that kind of slows me down enough to where I'm not self-centered and thinking about myself and my problems. And that's just enough for me to recharge myself during the week. But I think the key is to set a goal that's reachable, because that way you're getting up every morning with this in mind, with this target, with this mission to accomplish. I think that there was a study done, I can't remember which university did this, but they had one group of people digging a hole and filling it up with dirt, and they had another group of people doing something a little bit more normal, and they paid the people to dig the hole and fill it back up every day more money than the people that were doing just regular work. And most of the people that were digging the hole and filling it back up every day didn't want to do that anymore. They wanted to get less money and work something else because that was just meaningless to them. And I think our work can become kind of meaningless and empty if we're not working towards some kind of goal. Maybe you want to retire when you're 50. That's a good goal to have if you're 20 right now and you're starting to do this service and you want to travel and do other things with your time. Well, in that 30 years, how are you going to achieve that? Write that down, set that as your goal, which is a great goal to set. No one wants to be working all their lives, and so if you can retire at 50, more power to you. I definitely think buying rental properties would be a good goal for you. If you have a house and you want to kind of expand in other investments, set a goal to, in the next 3 years, purchase a rental property when the interest rates drop a little bit. Right now they're crazy, but they can't sustain this level of interest rates for long. And I would say in the next 3 years, if you can save up money for a down payment, have that ready, then you're good to go in 3 years to buy something out there in the market. Paying off your debt is a great goal and a great motivator. I would say that would be the first goal I would suggest for you. Whatever goal you want to set, have that something to be reached, some reason why you're getting up every day and doing what you're doing. My goal going forward is this: to continue to put out great content for you on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, and just to continue what I'm doing at a high level. And at the moment where I can't do this anymore, I'll switch my goals. I have another goal in mind with the investing in the future that I can always transition into. And so that's something that I have always on the table. But for now, my goal is just to continue to give you good content and to continue to teach you different aspects of the pool service industry, to help you with business, to help you with finances, anything that I can do on this podcast and on my YouTube channel to help you be successful in your business is my current goal. And I hope you find this content helpful, this podcast helpful. And again, I thank you for tuning in and making this podcast so successful and for encouraging me to put out more episodes every week. If you're looking for other podcasts I recorded, go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, and on the banner, click on the podcast icon, and that'll take you to a drop-down menu of other podcasts. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week. God bless. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.